Ever since the stupid challenge with the note, Enoshita felt like there wasn't any solid ground under his feet. And it definitely wasn't a pleasant feeling. He was someone who loved certainty in his life. Order was the way, slowly and surely did it. That's how it always was. But there was nothing of it left in his life now. Nothing was slow and steady with Tanaka, least of all their relationship. Though it would be unfair to say Tanaka rushed him. Enoshita knew he would wait for him if he just said a word. But that was the problem. He couldn't. Not when Tanaka's feelings burned with scorching passion, and Enoshita couldn't help but be swayed by it too. However, no matter how nice that sounded, Enoshita was scared of it. The bigger the fire, the faster it got exhausted. It was only natural. And that prospect terrified Enoshita to no end. What would happen when Tanaka's feelings got depleted? He already got used to having Tanaka around him as his boyfriend. He liked coming back home to someone he loved and who was waiting for him with a warm embrace. And vice versa also felt great. He liked to see Tanaka's face relax after a long day of dealing with people. He liked to think that he was the main cause of that. He hoped he was. But despite knowing each other for years already, they weren't together for that long. Only 4 months. To say Enoshita was shocked when his crush of several years suddenly appeared on his doorstep with flowers in his hands, confessing his feelings, would be a huge understatement. He couldn't wrap his mind around it for several days after that. And yet, he still said yes when Tanaka asked him out on a date without hesitation. He loved the date. He loved the short walk to his flat Tanaka insisted he would accompany him on. He loved Tanaka, the feelings he thought were hidden deep in his soul re-emerging on the surface. It only took a month for them to decide to move in together. It was just another example of how fast things were with Tanaka, and Enoshita was quickly losing his footing. He groaned quietly and face planted into the cushions on the couch, feeling as if all his mental strength disappeared and left just a heavy coat of nothing weighing him down. Why does it all have to be so difficult? Why didn't you tell me earlier, Ryu? Why now? He knew Tanaka would never lie to him, nor would he play with his feelings. But the truth was, Tanaka came to him after yet another failed relationship, and Enoshita couldn't help but think whether he wasn't just a convenient rebound or a way for Tanaka to figure things out. He felt horrible for thinking like that about his boyfriend, his friend first and foremost. He had known Tanaka for years and knew his straightforward honesty better than most. And yet... Chika, I'm home. Enoshita flinched and quickly gathered himself together. Welcome. How was work? Boring. But the good news is I don't have to deal with that annoying woman anymore. He threw his back on the ground and leaned over the back of the couch to give Enoshita a short kiss. Enoshita melted into the soft touch. It was surprising how gentle Tanaka could be despite his rash personality. Oh? Yeah, Hiroki took her over and he seemed content. That woman not so much, but I'm definitely not complaining. They should fine her for whatever that was she tried. I don't think you can fine people for flirting with their fitness trainer. Tanaka hummed. Isn't it a workplace harassment though? Or something like this? I read about it some time ago. They gave us a whole brochure about it. He shrugged and stole another kiss from Enoshita before making his way to the kitchen. Anyway, she won't be a problem anymore. Do we have something for dinner? I'm kinda starving. Enoshita's throat tightened. He was so buried in his thoughts he completely forgot Tanaka would be hungry after getting home from work. There should be the chicken from yesterday. Sorry. The sounds from the kitchen stopped, and a second later, Tanaka's head appeared from behind the wall, his forehead scrunched. What for? For not having the food ready for you. I was a bit lost in thoughts and I forgot. Sorry. Tanaka's expression shifted from confused into a soft smile, the one Enoshita never imagined he would be given. He had only seen Tanaka smile like this when he talked about his crushes, and he supposed that was the smile he saved for his loved ones. Hard day today? Not only today. Yeah. But I'm just a bit tired. I'll whip up something for you in a bit. He got up and rushed to the kitchen. However, he didn't get far when strong arms wrapped around him, effectively stopping his movement. His heart jumped all the way up into his throat, heat creeping up his face when he felt Tanaka's lips on the back of his neck. Ryu? Don't worry about it. You need to rest too, you know? You cooked for us the last week, so now it's my turn. Especially if you are tired. We wouldn't want you to get hurt because you weren't paying attention, right? But... Nope. You go sit down, I'll think of something to make, okay? Enoshita sighed, but he knew he had no chance of winning this one. Tanaka slowly turned him around in his arms, and Enoshita's heart ached seeing the incredibly soft look in his boyfriend's eyes. Sorry. He felt Tanaka gently squeezed his sides. Go rest, Chica. And stop apologizing already. You have nothing to be sorry for. I'll call you when I'm done, okay? Enoshita nodded, resisting the urge to hug Tanaka tightly and not let go for anything in the world. Instead, he returned the kiss from earlier and stepped back from the embrace before walking back into the living room. He sagged on the couch, his heart hammering in his ears. Great job, Chikara. You must think I'm completely useless. God damn it, Chikara. How many times do we have to tell you Tanaka is with you for a reason? Yeah, he loves you. He wouldn't pour his heart out to you otherwise. You should know that better than anyone. I know that. It's not that I don't believe him when he says he loves me. I just don't know how long it will last. What? What are you talking about? Did Tanaka do something? No. He's been really sweet the whole time. But you know he's jumping into everything head first without thinking. What if he realizes he's still not satisfied? Like with the previous relationships. But those were some random women he just met. You are you, Chikara. You are his friend. You've known each other for years. He loved you since high school. He just didn't realize it because he was too busy running after Shimizu-san. See? That's what I'm talking about. He was all about Kyoko back then. And even after graduation, he only dated women. So why go back to me? Why suddenly date a guy? You aren't his rebound if you are thinking about that. He's not that desperate to use you of all people to get over failed relationships. Enoshita sighed and glanced next to him on peacefully snoozing Tanaka. He was out the moment his head hit the pillow, and Enoshita had to smile. He loved the way his boyfriend's features softened when he slept. He liked to think the sleeping expression was a mirror of Tanaka's gentle soul. He was glad for the chance of spending time with Tanaka as his boyfriend. It brought him happiness he didn't even know existed, but the more he was terrified of the day when Tanaka would decide dating another guy wasn't really his thing, and all would go back to the usual. I just don't want him to regret asking me out. He's not like that, Chikara. He really loves you. I can send you screenshots of how he gushes over you in the other group chat if you want. He does? But that didn't mean it would stay like that forever. Or even just for another month. Yeah, it's getting kinda annoying honestly, but we wish you all the best. I think you two should talk first and foremost, especially since you have this mindset. You know communication is a key. But I'm scared. What if I just remind him he doesn't want to be with me after all? I'll just make it come sooner. I don't want to lose him. Look, if those things are true, which I doubt, you will just suffer longer if you don't deal with it now. It's only a matter of time before he catches wind of that, and then what? Agreed. Just talk to him. You'll see everything will be fine. It's not that easy. Yes, it is. Talk. That's it. Enoshita squeezed his eyes shut, stifling a groan. Chika. He quickly locked his phone, letting it fall on his lap. Sorry, did I wake you up? Tanaka shook his head, rubbing his eyes. No, but it's late. Why aren't you asleep yet? He looked up at him, quite awake for someone who had just been woken up in the middle of the night. Is something troubling you? More than you think. He sighed again, shaking his head. Oh, I can't fall asleep today. It's nothing, don't worry about it. I have to worry when you are sitting here like this. He slowly sneaked his arm around Enoshita's waist, tugging him firmly closer. Come here. Enoshita bit his lip, but hesitantly followed Tanaka's lead and snuggled closer to his chest, shivering when Tanaka's calloused fingers ran over the bare skin on his back. He hadn't really gotten intimate with anyone yet, not even with Tanaka, so this all was an utterly new sensation for him. Maybe that was why Tanaka went slow with him in this aspect. Or he just didn't want to get more intimate than an occasional makeout. Chika. Huh? Even in the dark bedroom, he could see the concern in the storm grey eyes he loved so much, the sight making his chest constrict. He leaned his forehead against Tanaka's chest. A small tremble ran through his body, and he had to bite his tongue to stop the quiet whimper from getting out of his throat. I'm fine. He felt Tanaka's arms tightened around him after a second of hesitation. Okay, you don't have to tell me now, but I'll listen if you want to talk. Enoshita squeezed his eyes shut, hoping to stop the pressure from building behind them. I know. Thank you. When he woke up the next day, the bed next to him was already empty. His heart sank. He hoped Tanaka would wake him up to have breakfast together, or at least say goodbye before he went to work, especially after last night. No matter what he did, he couldn't stop thinking about all the women Tanaka had dated before him. What did he even have to offer that set him on the same level in Tanaka's eyes as them? What changed? He raked his fingers through his hair, tugging at them lightly, all his insides clenching. Nothing changed to his knowledge. He couldn't see any reason Tanaka would have to date him other than seeking familiar comfort, which he knew Enoshita would never refuse to give. There was no other reason. He curled into a ball, hugging his knees. Absolutely no reason. Everything was temporary. Soon, he was going to be all alone again, and there was nothing he could do because Tanaka deserves the best in the world. He wasn't that. Never would be. The main door closed with a loud slam, and Enoshita startled. Shit. After a while, the door to bedroom opened slowly, revealing Tanaka with a bag from a nearby bakery in his hands. Ryu? Sorry, Chika. Did I wake you up? I didn't mean to slam the door, it just somehow... Are you okay? Too late did Enoshita realize how he must have looked. He quickly turned away. Yeah, I thought you left to work already. I called in sick so I could stay home today. What? But why? He heard Tanaka setting the bag on the nightstand and his footsteps stopping by the bed. You seemed pretty out of it yesterday, so I thought I will stay at home with you. The bed shifted under a new weight. The familiar rough yet gentle hand turned his head to face the concerned eyes of his boyfriend. What's wrong, Chika? I know I said I won't pressure you into telling me, but I can't watch how you torture yourself. Enoshita averted his gaze, unable to look into Tanaka's face. It's nothing. I can't deal with it. How many lies are you going to tell him? Obviously not, otherwise you would be alright. I can see you aren't. A desperate wave of defiance bubbled in Enoshita's chest. Just how pathetic he was when he couldn't tame his own faults. He could deal with this. He could. I'm fine, really. He couldn't. His throat tightened, stopping all the words he wanted to say. Tears stunk in his eyes, the first ones already rolling down his cheeks. He hid his face, desperately trying to stop the choked sobs clawing their way out of his throat. Strong arms were immediately around him, squeezing him in a warm embrace. Please tell me what's wrong. I can't do anything about it if you don't tell me. Is it the note? I know I shouldn't have thrown it out. I would never do that if I knew it was from you and not the... That's the problem. Why didn't it occur to you it could be from me? Is it so weird a guy would write something like this? Is it not manly enough? Why did you even want to date a guy when... He got interrupted by another involuntary sob. He angrily wiped his eyes, but the tears couldn't be stopped anymore. He knew Tanaka was watching him, his breakdown, seeing how pathetic he was. The nasty jealousy he felt against all the women before him and those who were about to come who apparently had something he lacked. He knew he was ugly to look at that moment. Or maybe always, who knew? But he couldn't stop it. That's what the problem is. Chika, I asked you out because I love you, isn't it obvious? Enoshita looked up, seeing Tanaka only as a fuzzy shape in front of him through the tears. Why now? You were obsessed with doing the best impression on girls since I've known you. You never said anything about liking a guy and then you suddenly appear and ask me out. Was it wrong? Did you not want to? No. I mean, yes, I don't know. He pulled his knees firmly to his chest and hid his face in the covers. I don't know. The arms around him tightened. Oh, sweetheart. It's okay. No need to cry. Or do. Let it all out. Anything that makes you feel better. Enoshita sniffed, new tears entering his eyes. I don't want to be a rebound. I want this to be real. Gentle hands cupped his face and made him look up. He could barely discern Tanaka's face, but he still could see the expression of utter shock. You are not a rebound. How can you even say that? I love you. I've loved you the whole time. It took me a lot of dates to figure out why it never felt right, but then I realized how much I wanted to be with you and it all clicked with me. I'm so sorry I didn't realize it sooner. I thought it was just a strong friendship I felt, but then I had a dream about you and kissing you and stuff. That's not really a friendship thing, right? He gently wiped Enoshita's tears from his cheeks. I would never use you to get over failed relationship. Never. You deserve the world, and I want to give it to you if you let me. Enoshita opened his mouth, but no words came out. Tanaka smiled at him and pulled him closer so he was almost lying on his lap. Why didn't you tell me earlier that you feel like this? I was scared you'll leave again. That you'll realize you made a mistake and move on to find some other girl to date. Tanaka shook his head, giving him a soft kiss on his forehead. I could never make a mistake with you. I knew that from the moment you agreed to go on a date with me. I have no regrets, and I won't have any when I buy you a ring one day either. Enoshita blushed and buried his face into Tanaka's chest, finally letting himself relax a bit. I love you too. I'm sorry for being weak. You aren't weak. You were scared. But you don't have to be anymore. I love you, and I'm not going anywhere. But promise you'll tell me if you ever start feeling insecure again, okay? I want you to be happy, not suffer in silence. Enoshita sniffed and wiped his eyes, melting into the most secure embrace he knew. Perhaps he really could have what he dreamed about all those years. Perhaps they could be happy for the rest of their lives. Together. I promise.